Okay, I just want to make a quick post about Obama's arrival in Cuba. Remember, he's the first president in 88 years to visit Cuba, or first acting president. The last one to do so was John Calvin Coolidge, whose name adds up to 88 even. Lots of other stuff I've talked about previously with that, but anyway, look at the time that CNN posts for that Obama arrives in Cuba. 7:14 a.m. and also 4:14 a.m. Pacific time. But anyway, so it's 7:14 and 4:14. If you go from March 20th to 7:14, July 14th, it just so happens to be a span of 116 days. I've been just talking about this number over and over in regards to the judges and also the assassination of Obama or maybe Trump or whatever. Obama nominated Merrick Garland on 3/16, which is also 16-3. The 163, the 163rd day is June 11th, 6/11 or 11/6. It all started when Julie Kokorek, the Texas judge, was shot outside of her home on November 6th, 11/6. Tons of other stuff with it. Please watch my previous videos, but just know the number 116 has been coming up over and over and over with stories in regards to Obama. Also, 4/14, interesting because as a date, it would be April 4th or April 14th, which can also be written as 14/4, like the 144 that's super connected to political assassinations and whatnot. It's also the 41s. I don't know why my mouse keeps moving that, but the 41s are also connected to the Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones even equals 41. Abraham Lincoln was shot on 4/14, then he died 9 hours and 9 minutes later. March 20th, 2016 even equals 144 in Gematria. Obama's the 44th president. If you write out the word 44, it equals 144. April 4th, like 44, equals 144 when you write out April 4th. Obama assassinated in Cuba March 22nd equals 144. Don't think it's going to happen, but just interesting that it's coded to 144. And I mean, it could, but who knows? Also, March 22nd is 322. That's the Skull and Bones number, 322. But look when Obama actually arrived in Cuba. So CNN posts this, and they have the time with the 7:14 and the 4:14. Obama tweets, "Just touched down here, looking forward to meeting and hearing directly from the Cuban people. 3:22 p.m. All connected to the Skull and Bones, the 322. Also, I mean, it just seems kind of strange to me that if he arrived there yesterday at 3:22 p.m., why does CNN not report it until 7:14 in the morning? I mean, I don't know. It just seems weird. They report it the very next day, even though he arrived there at 3:22 the day before. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, Obama going to Cuba. You think they would be right on it. I mean, who knows? Maybe, whatever. Maybe Cuba wouldn't let him go there. Who knows? Interesting, though, when I think about it. So they show Obama getting off the plane at 7:14 a.m., but on this video they actually show the plane landing at 7:13 a.m. If you go from 3:22 in the afternoon and you go till 7:13 in the morning the next day, it's a span of 15 hours and 51 minutes. I've just got done talking about all these 51 coding, even though right here they have the 51,000 whatever and the 31,000. I talked about all this with Kobe Bryant in his games played and whatnot. Also, Donald Trump is 15 years, 51 days older than Obama. So who knows? Just interesting they show him getting off the plane 7:14, 4:14, whatever. Maybe that's the reason why. Anyway, here. The Skull and Bones number, like I said, is 322. Obama's supposed to be there until March 22nd, which would be 322. He also posts this at 322. If you write out July 14th, which is 714, July 14th, 2016, it equals 141. I've talked a whole bunch about this number in recent events. Even the Russian plane wreck was all about the number 141. I talked about the judges being shot. This was the first one. Her name adds up to 141. It was 14 weeks and 1 day before Antonin Scalia died. The Russian plane wreck was even 141 days after the last Russian plane wreck that was on Halloween or whatever. Lots of 141. World War III equals 141. You know, interesting. He's in Cuba and whatnot. So, whatever. Just pointing it out again. It's also, or this lady was also shot 132 days before Obama nominated Merrick Garland to take the place of Antonin Scalia, who adds up to 132. I mean, just notice that this video is 1 minute 32 long. CNN does this constantly. They code their videos with the times and the dates and whatnot. Also, Obama says Quebola, Cuba. Quebola, Cuba just so happens to equal 51, just like this lady's name, just like Antonin Scalia, just like Donald Trump is 15 years, 51 years old, older than Obama. If you go from April 14th to July 14th, it's a span of 91 days. I've talked a lot about 91 since probably the beginning or end of August, about how it's a death number, an elimination number. I've still rarely seen it with anything positive, so something to think about. It's also connected to the 41 and also the Skull and Bones. Normally, April 1st, 4-1, is the 91st day of the year. This year, it's actually 331, which can also be written as 31-3. 306 score and 6 equals 313. Pope Francis became the Pope on 3/13 of 2013. The Pope also went to Cuba this year on September 19th, which adds up to 91 in Gematria. September 19th is even 919, the mirrors of 91. September 19th is also the day that James Garfield was assassinated in 1881 after being shot at the train station on July 2nd. Then he died on September 19th that year. Just sticks out to me because of all the Philadelphia train wreck coding that we've seen. And I feel like it's super connected to Obama as well as Pope Francis. So something to think about. This guy was assassinated after being shot at a train station. He died. 714 in Gematria equals 99. I mean, like I said, I say it over and over, but I have tons of posts about this 99. Lincoln was even shot on 14-4, died 9 hours, 9 minutes later. Obama sang Amazing Grace at Clementa Pinckney's funeral 9 days after 9 people were shot. It's 9 months and 9 days from 4-4. 44 equals 144, like the day that Lincoln was shot. April 4th equals 144. It's 4-4. Obama's the 44th president. The first president to die in office was the 9th president, who also died on April 4th. Obama will be the 9th president to die in office. It's also 9 presidents after JFK, who was the last president to die in office, who was also the 44th term president. Obama's actually the 43rd person to be president, though. So, who knows? I mean, it could really be coded. I've said this for a while, but it could be coded to the next president or something to do with somebody running for president. Which Donald Trump really, I mean, they've been foreshadowing a lot of, him getting attacked on stage and whatnot. It really could be him or both. And I just threw this in here again. I talk a lot about 44 being a number connected to political assassination and the death and whatnot. But an interesting thing, Mark Twain is a pretty big, American novelist and whatnot, essay writer. Lots of people know who Mark Twain is. But what's interesting, he's connected to San Francisco as well, which San Francisco has the Golden Gate, where the Jews believe that the Messiah is going to come through. It also connects to the Golden State Warriors. There's been lots of San Francisco coding. San Francisco equals 122, just like Pope Francis, just like Golden State. But Mark Twain, they even had a documentary last year I watched about him called 88 Days in the Motherlode. It was about how he left San Francisco and went up into the mountains or whatever, and he lived off grid and for 88 days before going back to San Francisco. Tons of other stuff just connected to San Francisco and whatnot. But the very last novel that he ever wrote was called The Mysterious Stranger. And in that book, Satan is known as the number 44. They call him 44, and he's actually Satan. He's the mysterious stranger or whatever. Interesting, at Gematria, mysterious stranger equals 266, 923, the 266th day. Pope Francis, the 266th Pope, who visited the 44th President at the White House at 923 on 923. Also, I just want to go back and I want to show you something interesting about Pope Francis. So, in Gematria, if you write out Pope Francis is the Antichrist, it equals 133. If you write out the Mark of the Beast, 306, it also equals 133. Also, the Big Way, 313. Literally, the day that Pope Francis became the Pope, 313 of 2013, or it can also be 13-3, like 133. I mean, both numbers connecting to that. Does that mean Pope Francis is really the Antichrist or whatever? Who knows? You know, just some interesting coding. Does it mean Barack Obama is Satan because he's the 44th president and the mysterious stranger equals, you know, his name is 44 and whatnot? Who knows? But some serious stuff to think about and whatnot. So, also, you know, Mark Twain in Gematria equals 110. Just like the word president, his real name Samuel Clemens equals 142 and 43. President Obama equals 142. He's the 43rd person to be the president. Mark Twain undoubtedly was a Freemason. He even died at the age of 74. He even knew his death. He said that he would die after seeing Halley's Comet and blah, blah, blah. I mean, just crazy. He dies at the age of 74. Look at all these 74s. I mean, it's just a small list, but Jesus, Cross, Joshua, Yeshua, Gospel, Masonic, Muhammad, Lucifer. So just some interesting stuff. He even died 142 days after his 74th birthday. His name equals 142. It's also 223 days before his 75th birthday. So, you know, once again, just something to think about. Wanted to throw that in there because I never really talk about it anymore. I always talk about the 44 in regards to death and whatnot, but 44 has a lot of other interesting connections. Also today we got this headline called Obama, Embargo on Cuba Will End. Interesting. The headline adds up to 88. Once again, Obama, the first president, acting president in 88 years to visit Cuba. The last was John Calvin Coolidge, who even equals 88. So whatever, just going to end it there. Tried to make it short, and then I start rambling. So have a good one. Bye.